deliver judgment on several applications challenging his detention and terrorism charge against him today in the court. Now moving to another newspaper front page, which is the Guardian newspaper front page. We see that SMBLF fears Nigerian drifting towards one-party rule. That story can be found in page 4 of that newspaper. Beside it, in that same page 4, we can see that alleged Christian genocide. Federal government accuses U.S. of inciting violence group. And also beside it, we see the federal government states LG shares 2.09 trillion naira as October revenue in that same page 4. And the big headline, we see that there is an outrage over raising adoption attack as army rallies 24,000 recruits in page 6 of that particular newspaper. If we look beneath the picture of the president as well as other people in the front page, we see in page 34 that Cross River to begin forensic audits of civil servant certificating January. And beside it, we see in page 34 that health workers strike will continue until federal government reviews COHESS, that's CONHESS. And also we see that over 6,386 cargoes detained by NPF customs incurs 472.5 million naira daily demurrage in page 15 of that newspaper. Now we also see in page 35 that 230 million Nigerians saw on seats Tinubu defecting governors, El Rufai comes out to say in that particular page. And also in page, that same page 35, we see that Northern Group reject FECs and road project. We also see in page, that's in page 35 on the black column, that Governor Yusuf presents 1.36 trillion 2026 budget. Now looking into some of the stories on that particular front page, we see that the health workers under the Joint Health Sector Union says that nationwide strike will continue indefinitely until the federal government reviews the consolidated health salary structure, which they argue has been ignored for 12 years despite the legal mandate for 4 years review. Speaking in Abakaliki, we see that the chairman, Comrade Barton, and also the MHWN leader, Silvanus, accused the government of repeatedly breaching agreements since 2012, favoring doctors by reviewing their salaries structures, then 3 times leaving non-medical workers behind. And the union says that multiple meetings and ultimatums have failed, insisting that they cannot keep caring for patients on empty stomach, and warning that the collapse of service in many hospitals is the government's responsibility until pending agreements and wages award are addressed. Now, this situation highlights the deep imbalance in the Nigerian healthcare sector and how the healthcare petitioners have come out to actually make a long-standing complaint about an issue that has been overdue or will I say overstretched since the year 2012 till date, and they're asking that this particular issue be solved even before they come back from that particular strike that they're about to go on. And we hope that this particular issue be resolved between the health sector and the government. We also see on that same page that Cross River State Governor has announced a plan to conduct a forensic audit of civil servant certificate and qualification beginning January 2026. The exercise aimed to verify the authenticity and academia of professional credentials, following the report that some high-ranking civil servants possess fake and unverified qualification. Governor Basi Otu has given full backing to the initiative, emphasizing that it's correct grade placement, upholding professional and standard, and also to ensure civil servants are staffed with qualified personnel. Now, this audit will also scrutinize industry-specific certification and detect forgery as well as falsification, and enforce and enforce compliance with safety standard. Now, this audit represents a major step towards improving the accountability and integrity between Cross River civil servants and exposing also falsified qualification and adjusting the grade placement on this particular issue. This state aims to enhance its efficiency and professionalism as well as public trust in government operations. The initiative could deter future credential fraud and strengthen institutional credibility as well as ensure critical decisions which are made within the state's Civil Servants Association. We also look at another newspaper front page, and the next on our list is the Nation newspaper front page, where we see that ISWAP leader jailed 20 years over terror attacks in page 3 of that newspaper. If we look beside it, we also see that capital gain tax to make markets more competitive, investor friendly in page 7 of the newspaper. And in page 4, we see that Daniel remains bona fide APC member, party tells Ogun chapter. And we also see in page 5 that Olubadan to elevate top Ibadan chief tomorrow. And the big headline, we see that attack, Tinubu puts troop on highest ever red alert as US targeted killing claims has emboldened terrorists, says the federal government. And we also see on that same page that capital markets turnover hits 10 trillion naira, as well as foreign supplies raises on strong inflow. And if you look at the red column in page 3, worst of Boko Haram insurgency over, says Zulum in that page. And beside it in page 4, we see that LP Senator Ezia dies at the age of 62. Our condolences to the family. Now on that particular newspaper front page, you'll be taking some headlines, full story. We see that one of them is following a series of violent attack in Borno, Kebbi and Kwara State. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has placed Nigerian security force on the highest ever red alert and ordered that the immediate rescue of 20 adopted schoolgirls be taken into consideration. Tinubu postponed his planned trip to the G20 and the AU as well as EU summit to personally oversee the response. Vice President Kashim Shettima visited affected families and reassured them that the government's action, while also top ministers and security agencies have been mobilized to rescue as well as neutralize the terrorists and bandits as well as the criminals who are in this particular network. The federal government also condemned the claim by the former President Donald Trump and other foreign actors that targeted Christians as being killed in Nigeria, arguing that such statements embolden extremist group. And we also see that Secretary of the Government of Federation, Senator George Akume, emphasized that Boko Haram, ISWAP, and North-West bandits operate primarily along ideological and economic lines, affecting both Christians and Muslims, urging international partners to support and intelligence security to cooperate rather than issuing public labels. Kebbi State official clarified that the adopted schoolgirls are from a peaceful community and claims that they are predominantly Christians are inaccurate. The government also reaffirmed the Nigerian commitment to protecting all citizens and strengthening the national unity, as well as restoring the unity of the security areas in this particular affected areas. We also see on another newspaper front page that, that's the Daily Trust newspaper front page. I lost 30 shop in Gombe Market, Ifeno. Trader comes out to say on that particular newspaper front page. And beside it in page 13, we see the PDP crisis, police barricade secretariat. And beside it also, we see that ISWAP leader begs 20 years jail term on that newspaper front page. If you look beneath it, the big headline, we see that bandits adopt 30 in Kwara church attacks. And KB releases names of kidnapped school girls in page 4, in page 3, and in page 6 of that particular newspaper front page. If you look beneath the picture of the Cooperative of National Emergency, we see on the black column how mosquito coil fire killed family of 4 in Kano State in page 33 of the newspaper. And beneath it, we see that Kano governor presents 1.36 trillion naira budget for 2026 in page 33. And in page 39, Super Falcons shine as Nadozie extend dominance as CAF award. We also see in page 33 that genocide, Rabidu leads delegation to U.S. Congressman on that particular front page. And looking into some of the headlines, we see that Kano State Governor Abba Kabiru Yusuf has presented the 2026 long-awaited budget, tagged Budget of Infrastructure, Inclusive Growth and Sustainable Development, totaling 1.368 trillion naira, with 68% earmarked for capital projects and 32% for recruitment spending. The budget prioritized education to 405.3 billion naira, health to 212.2 billion naira, and infrastructure 346.2 billion naira, while continuing urban renewal, housing, SME support, and social welfare initiative. Yusuf highlighted the major 2026 achievements, including the recruitment of 400 mathematical teachers and expansion of health service cares, as well as the reforms and environmental projects that were done in the year 2025. The governor also urged that the House of Assembly have a speedy passage and emphasized that the budget consolidates ongoing reforms and ensures sustainability developments in the country. We see that the 2026 budget demonstrates that Kano State's focuses on long-term development by prioritizing infrastructure, human capital, and social service by investing heavily in education, health, and the renewal of urban states in Nigeria. And we also see that the government seeks to sustain the economic growth and as well as improving the living standard of the citizens in Nigeria, as well as boosting productivity. This emphasizes on SME support and youth and women empowerment, as well as climate initiative, to indicate the commitment to inclusive development within the country. Now moving into another headline on that particular newspaper front page, we see in another headline that Lagos State government has raised a fresh concern over the growing shortage of healthcare workers, urging 42 newly inducted nurses from Lagos State University College of Medicine to stay and serve the states that funded their training. Speaking at the ceremony in Ikeja, the Commissioner of Tertiary Education warned that Lagos, with a population of over 20 million, urgently need more medical staff to fill criteria gaps as well as across its hospitals in that particular state, adding that this JAPA syndrome must be ready to be put out totally. This event also saw university officials reminded and inductees of the comprehension of professionalism required in nursing, while experts highlighted that there's a need to embrace technology without losing human sympathy. This comes just days after states similarly appealed to medical doctors not to leave but better the opportunity in Nigeria than moving outside in or under the name JAPA syndrome. The situation reflects a major national challenge in Nigeria between the health sector, and hope that the doctor as well as nurses will be able to stay in the country to solve some medical issues rather than running out of the country to seek safety elsewhere. Now we're moving into another newspaper front page. The newspaper front page we're looking into now is the Tribune newspaper front page, where we see that HID Awolowo Foundation hosts national dialogue on women in politics 30 years after Beijing. We also see that LLC, JNI, CAN and others call for decisive action as federal government says that Nigerian security puts on highest alert ever. Soldiers also take over Kwara communities and youth blocks Ilorin Kaba Highway, Shetima in KB says adopters of schoolgirls will face the law. And KB local government chairman releases names of adopted schoolgirls as well as claim that they are Christians. He also takes a decisive action to return students. JNI comes out. And the Northern Can comes out to say that there's an attack on Nigeria, a destabilization plot on the country. President aborts G20 AU and EU meeting and awaits security briefings on page 2 and 20 of that newspaper front page. If you also look beside the picture of the Vice President Shetima and the KB State Committee and government people in the state on Wednesday, we see that there's a police seal of PDP Wadata Plaza block access point. Obi blames crisis in PDP, LP, SDP on APC-led government and calls on Trump to save them. We also see in page 8 that Nigerian democracy in national security threats, Wiki comes out to say on that particular newspaper front page. And if you look beneath it, we see that 230 million Nigerians will defeat 25 governors in 2027. El-Rufai comes out to say in page 24 of that newspaper. And in page 20, we see that Ribadu Fagbemi leads 10-men FG delegation to US and meets congressmen more in that particular newspaper front page. And on the last newspaper front page for today, the New Telegraph newspaper, we see that 9 million to 25 Nigerian earns 15 trillion naira from gas as global demands thickens. We also see on the black column that allocation federation revenue increases as FAAC disburses 2.09 trillion naira in page 8. And if we look beneath the icon of New Telegraph, we see that rendition of partisan music at Judges Conference disgraceful scandal. Atiku comes out to say and claim that entirely false, doesn't reflect what is called transpired in NUJ in page 5 and 6 of that newspaper. Beside it in page 28, we see that Africa losing over $50 billion annually to illicit financial flows. ICPC boss comes out to say on that newspaper front page. If you also look beside it, we see in page 31 that CAF award Nadozie Falcon shines as Hakeem crowned King of Africa. We also say that things happen. Trump defends Saudi crown prince over the Congolese killing. We also see the big headline that kidnapping killings confront this evil before it consumes us all. NLC tells federal government as bandits attack church, kills pastor, one other and adopt many in Kwara State days after KB schoolgirls adoption in page 2, 3, 4, 7 and 29 of that newspaper front page. We also look beneath it that in page 6 that SDP chair and Gabam calls for protection for democracy and condemns PDP crisis. We also see in page 8 that oil prices fall sharply over U.S. proposal to end Russian-Ukraine war on that newspaper front page. If you look beneath the picture of the Federal Road Safety Corps, we see that the federal government to resident doctors suspend strike. 19 out of 20 demands has been addressed in page 3 and 15 of that newspaper. We see that PSN calls for urgent governor actions to end Joshua and AHPA action. We also see beside it that peanuts pension gratuity, police retire set to exit contributory pension scheme in page 4, 7 and 9 of that newspaper. If you look at the green box, that we see that going to bed same time every night lowers blood pressure. Study has come out to say in page 30 of that particular newspaper. Now looking into one of the news on that newspaper, we see that on that particular newspaper front page, we see that Super Falcon star Chiamaka Unadozie stone briefly as after the 2025 CAF award at Rabat, Morocco, winning the Women Goalkeeper of the Year for the third consecutive year. Nigerian captain Rasheedat narrowly missed out on the Women's Player of the Year award, which went to Morocco captain. We also see while Hakimi claimed the Men Players of the Year award, Victor Osimhen and Mohamed Salah had claimed other awards. The Super Falcons were crowned Women National Team of the Year after their historic 10th WAFCON title, as Morocco determined several award categories, including the Young Player of the Men National Team honorarium and the ceremony filled with music and celebration marked a big night for African football teams as well as Nigeria. And also Nigeria missed out in some of the top prizes, but were able to come out winning some of the awards that particular night. And now we'll be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll be diving into our tech news for today. Do stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
5G technology. 5G technology promises to be a game changer by delivering ultra-fast internet speeds, low latency, and the ability to connect millions of devices seamlessly. It's going to fuel the future of smart cities, autonomous vehicles, and IoT devices, allowing them to communicate in real time. However, 5G rollout isn't without hurdles. High costs of infrastructure and regulatory issues in some regions have slowed down implementation. By 2026, the 5G market is expected to be valued at $667.90 billion, with the US, China, and South Korea leading the change. The challenge? Cybersecurity risks and data privacy will remain top concerns as more devices become connected.
In a continent where limited internal financing continues to stifle innovation, the need for change has never been more urgent. As we grapple with the consequences of over-reliance on external funding, it is vital for African nations to champion TV.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is still your newspaper review on Idea Television. And before we went on a break, we were sharing some newspaper front page headlines. And now we're diving into our tech news for today. First on our list is Gabon, having taken a major step towards reshaping its media landscape, as the Minister of Communication and Media, Paul